Sometimes, greatness is just waiting for permission. It lingers quietly, tucked away in the corners of late-night thoughts and half-finished dreams, waiting for the right moment to emerge. And sometimes, all it takes is one unexpected act of kindness to throw open the door.
Twist, twist, twist of fate radio.
In a cramped New York City apartment, a woman in her early 30s stared at a stack of handwritten pages. She'd been chipping away at the story for years. Late at night, early in the morning, any moment she wasn't at her day job answering phones and booking flights for an airline. She didn't have a writing degree. She wasn't a published author. She was just another dreamer in a city full of them. Every day she clocked in at Idlewild Airport, what we now call JFK, working long shifts as a reservation agent. Her life was practical, not poetic. But inside, she carried a voice that wouldn't let her go. A childhood that still echoed. A town that haunted her. A story that hadn't yet found the page. She wrote short stories and essays in secret, pieces of something bigger. But New York is a city that eats time, and her story kept slipping through the cracks of work and worry. Then came Christmas, 1956. That morning she visited close friends, Michael and Joy Brown. The three had become like family, sharing meals, laughter, and dreams. She expected the usual Christmas cheer, maybe a sweater, a book, a warm meal. But what she found instead was an envelope. Inside was a note. You have 1 year off from your job to write whatever you please. Merry Christmas. Along with that note was a check, a full year's salary. Can you imagine? Enough to quit her job, pay her bills, and finally, focus. She was stunned, grateful, terrified. But she took the leap. For the first time in her life, she had space. Not just physical space, but emotional, mental, creative space. The kind you need when you're about to give something your whole heart. She sat down at her typewriter and began again. She pulled from the dusty corners of her southern childhood, the people, the streets, the courthouse, the quiet heroism of her father, the injustice she witnessed, the innocence lost. And slowly, a story began to take shape. A young girl with a nickname instead of a proper name. A father who stood tall even when the world pushed back. A town divided by race and tangled in tradition. A mockingbird, and the silence that surrounded it. Within a year, the manuscript was finished. In 1960, it was published. In 1961, it won the Pulitzer Prize. And in the years that followed, it became one of the most beloved novels in American literature, selling over 30 million copies, translated into more than 40 languages and inspiring generations of readers. The woman's name was Harper Lee. The book, To Kill a Mockingbird. And if you haven't read it yet, now's your chance to check it out. A novel born not just from talent, but from time. And from two friends who believed in a voice that hadn't yet found its place. They didn't fund a business. They didn't offer connections. They gave her what she needed most. The freedom to try. The courage to fail. The luxury of focus. And that made all the difference. Sometimes the greatest gifts aren't things you can wrap. Sometimes they're a chance, a moment, a year. A twist of fate that turns a dreamer into a legend. So I have to ask before this story ends, what would you do if you had 1 year's salary and time to dream, to do, to become? What would you do with that time? This has been Twist of Fate Radio. I'm Angela Clark. Until next time, remember, sometimes the smallest choices lead to the biggest consequences. Want to explore more stories like this? Visit twistoffateradio.com. There you can read more details about this story and others like it. Plus, you can submit your own Twist of Fate story to be considered for a future episode. You never know what twist of fate is coming next.